You used to believe in one thing when you were a child that you no longer do. What was it? That it's okay to be smart. The kids in my neighborhood, and one friend in particular, would give me crap growing up because I read at a much higher grade level than my peers, and therefore had a much more expanded vocabulary. It was just natural to me to speak that way. But they always accused me of trying to sound smart. Now I have a job where I teach physicians about medical documentation and medical coding. I have to be able to communicate at their level. So glad I can. That you are supposed to find a purpose in life, and that you will find it one day if you search hard enough. You won't find it. Life is to be enjoyed. Simple as that. Wish I knew that when I was younger and didn't cut myself up and get on medications to push myself through shitty classes. Otherwise, I'd have just gotten a liberal arts degree and then gone to flight school and became an airline pilot. Do what you like in life, not what you feel like you should do. My mum tricked us into thinking that the orange sticker stuff on the rack near the supermarket registers was the highest quality food in the store, and we could have some if we were good. It was the manager's special clearance baked goods from the in-store bakery, stuff that had like 2 days till expiration. So it was half price, but with all us kids it was always eaten same day, so that was never an issue. That there's a specific life path to take. I figure everyone kinda grew up and got married and had kids and retired, etc. The thing is, life is kind of a buffet, and you get to choose a lot of the aspects you partake in and what you do, and your life may turn out any number of ways. A lot of stuff is kind of obligatory, heavily influenced by whatever society you're in, but a surprising amount isn't. My grandfather was a WW2 veteran, and I believe that my government had my best interest in mind in all it did. I lived with him, and his war stories about fighting for America instilled in me a steadfast belief in America. It took a long time, but that slap in the face truly hurt. I still love America, but my trust in our government, both sides, is gone. That humanity has been, is on, an always steady upward trajectory of goodness and advancement in technology, morality, and common knowledge. For that matter, another answer would be that there is common knowledge, or that everyone in the world obviously wants the world to get better, and for everyone else to be happy and have what they need. I'll give a more light-hearted answer. I heard that it takes 8 minutes for sunlight to reach Earth. I thought if I stayed up late and stared at the horizon, there would be 8 minutes where I could see the sun, but it would be dark out. Listen, child B may be stupid as Snoper. I truly believed that blood was a finite resource, and that you never got any more. So if you got too many cuts and scrapes, you'd eventually run out and die. I would always lick my own wounds before I told an adult I got hurt, so it could go back in my system and not be lost in a bandage. I had such severe OCD. I genuinely believed if I didn't perform certain specific rituals, my family would die, and everyone left in the world would hate me because I didn't do what I was supposed to save them. My life until I was 21 was consumed with this, and an ED. Fun stuff. 2 things. I thought girls started producing milk when they hit puberty, not when they got pregnant. I thought that the way babies were made is that when two people kissed, the saliva exchange would somehow make a baby. I like to think I was half right with that last one. 1. That you would fall in love, be married to them, and stay together the rest of their lives. 2. That since I was a child prodigy on guitar, that I would be well known. 3. Since I didn't have many cares or worries as a child, I wouldn't have any as an adult. I thought when I was a child that I'd stop saying stupid stuff and making a fool of myself when I was grown up, that I'd have the maturity to know when to keep my mouth shut. Well, there's always tomorrow. Maybe I'll get there one of these days. That Christians were always good people you could trust. As a young girl, I realized it was all a fawade and grift, due to the sliminess of so many male church figures. I still shudder at memories of some of the more interesting encounters. I always thought it wasn't a big deal if your husband beats you because of my abusive father. He never beat me, but he often slapped my mother between their fights. I used to live in a joint family. They normalize it like it was nothing bad, that we deserve the things we get from hard work. The world only wants to know how badly you want it and how much they can extort you for it. Life drama just makes that extortion process look like the universe is giving you affirmation. I was born with a strawberry birthmark on my arm, which just happened to be in the shape of a strawberry. I thought all kids were born and received a stamp on their arm. I thought I was special for getting that one. God, this is embarrassing. I'm about 40 and believed that there was a Mongolian cheese that was made in the butts of horses. God knows where I got that. I thought that till like 3 months ago, that if you meet someone and fall deeply in love and they fall in love with you, it will work out because love conquers all. Turns out that person might be an asshole and you might be naive. I was convinced I would one day come into my superpower and was excited for that day to arrive. I was hoping for a light flight or super speed. I think it might not be happening. Pretty much everything I learned from my family and circle of influence, all of it was terribly wrong and fucked me over for a long time. I'm still trying to climb out of that shit. That there were vampires in the woods. Turns out it wasn't vampires. That drunkheads and a random fat guy who used to stalk me never did anything bad. Actually, just was weird. That adults always knew what was best. That when you matured into an adult, suddenly life would become easier and make sense. Almost 40 and still waiting on that. I thought that people never intentionally hurt you or intend to cause harm. Just I moved out of my hometown and went to college. Leprechauns had an awesome kindergarten teacher who would mess up the room every day and say that we couldn't see him because he was invisible. Picky eaters were just spoiled brats. Now I know people taste things differently. Our taste buds are different and may even change with time. Someday someone would see me, cherish me, and choose me. 43 years of being disposable, replaceable, and not worth it later. I was wrong. There was an island in the middle of a big lake about 15 miles from my house. It had a shack on it and pine trees. I thought it was Hawaii. That I used to think strawberry milk came from pink cows, and you couldn't see them in the daytime because they were allergic to the sun. I thought makeup animal testing was literally putting makeup on animals. Lol, I was shocked when I found out the real definition. I believed turning the lights on in the car was a crime. I also believed the moon followed me. I must have been special. That buses and semi-trucks were the safest vehicles on the road, as if they were incapable of getting into an accident. That my family would eventually love and accept me. They don't. They never will. I'm 33 now and I'm still the outcast. That there's good in every person. Deep down. L-O-fucking-L. Sometimes, deep down, there's just more shittiness. When I was still a teen, I thought when I hit mid to late 20s I'll already have a family of my own. Love. Like the kind you see in movies and read about in books. Reality is so much uglier than that. Violence was always wrong. And when people chose to use it, it was with valid and painful reason. That I can do and be anything I want to, as in what do you want to be when you grow up? Not true. That almost everyone is kind and caring. I was lucky to grow up with loving people around me. Spinach would make me big and strong. Shit gives me diarrhea immediately. That other people thought like I thought and knew the things that I knew. That anything could be overcome. All you had to do was try hard enough. Adulthood means freedom. But I figured was more happy in my childhood. That even if she didn't love me, I could at least trust my mother. That my family was loving and functional and would stick together. I always thought that all adults had my best interests at heart. People, I thought we were inherently good. Now I'm not so sure. If you swallow gum, it will stick to your ribs for 7 years. That adults were smart or knew what the fuck they were doing. That I'd be happy, have friends, date or mal. I was a naive fool. The world isn't as soft as you think. It's not all happy. Pet rocks. Need me to explain, or do you all know what that is? Justice League is a documentary. I used to be an idiot. That vegetables were yucky. They're really yummy. That people are telling the truth most of the time. How far will I have to scroll to see Santa Claus? That I lived in the greatest country in the world. Planet X was going to destroy the world 12/21/2012.